I started watching on the news and on social media, some of the people I started following, some of the clips, and this is what they don't realize. The Israeli regime doesn't realize how much damage they did to themselves, because a lot of what I first started watching that really horrified me was from them. It was like I was looking at their TikToks and watching them celebrate the water getting cut off. I was watching the deranged IOF officers dancing and laughing, and the lawmakers being like, they're animals. This is Amalek. And I know what that means because I was raised Christian. And so when I saw the way they were talking about them, I was like,
yeah,
I don't have to be an expert in Middle East politics to know that's fucking deranged. Like, that's fucking deranged. So, like, they really did damage to their own cause by being so openly genocidal to begin with. And then, so that was part of it. And then the other thing that kind of ripped down that, oh, it's complicated, was like starting to see them fucking kill them. Like, starting to see them bomb them. I was like, okay, that's not complicated. You're attacking children. There's nothing complicated. I don't give a fuck about 3,000 years. It was promised to me. Whatever the hell you tell me, I don't understand. It's a religious conflict. You know what I understand? You're bombing children.
Blakeley to the stage. So good to have you on the channel finally.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. Although activist is doing a lot of work, I feel like activist is a title I have not earned. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy who talks online and goes to protest. But I don't know. I just feel like activist is like people like Afeni is an activist. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want, I feel like I haven't earned that. But anyway, yes, happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Excited to talk and hang.
Well, you know, the whole activist thing, you know, I'm manifesting right now.
Gotcha.
But it's so good to have you. You have been very vocal on TikTok as well as on Twitter and on other different platforms, talking not just about this, you know, what's the 21st century Holocaust that is going on in Gaza, but also a lot of the things that we see in regards to the two-party system here in the United States. Just for a couple of minutes, I would like for you to expound on what got you so fired up about speaking about this in this space, and, you know, how did you land here?
Well, I'm sure like a lot of people could probably relate to this. Like, seeing dead children does something to you, you know? Like, it's like, I already talked about politics, you know, like I already talked about politics, although it wasn't like the main thing I talked about, but I did talk about it. And I was involved somewhat in politics when it comes to like domestic politics, but I think like a lot of very ignorant Americans, especially white Americans, I think that my understanding or even interest in politics stopped at our borders. Like, I didn't really care or think about what happened outside of the US. And I find that then when October 7th happened and I had no idea what was really going on or what was happening, I would have called myself somebody that was like, I guess, pro-Israel by default. Not because I actually really like, probably for two reasons. One, because I never saw the Palestinian perspective talked about in our media ever. Like, regardless of whether or not they were on the left or right, I never saw it. And so I really didn't have like a frame for people like that. And then also when it comes to like what was happening, I think that also being raised, I think that Jewish identity was used a lot. And I want to say this sensitively. I don't want to be insensitive. But I think that Jewish identity in many ways was used as a shield to protect them from any criticism that I didn't realize I was also a part of. And what I mean by that is being raised white and told about the Holocaust from a very young age. The Holocaust, it was the worst thing that ever happened in human history. You don't want to be a bigot, do you? Like, that's kind of how I was raised. Like, you don't criticize Israel. you don't criticize Jews because do you want to be an anti-Semite? You want to be a racist? Like that's kind of how I was raised. So I really believed it too. Like I really believed that like in order to be anti-racist, pro, equality, pro equity, that like low key criticizing Israel, you're kind of a Nazi. Like that was the framework that was in my head. And so I was afraid, even when I started to first look at what was happening, to even say that, for fear that it would be anti-Semitic. And I don't even just mean fear that I would be perceived that way. I mean, I feared actually being that, because I don't want to be racist, right? Like, I don't want to be anti-Semitic, right? So that's bad, at least to some people. And so, like, I really struggled with that. And when people first started calling me anti-Semitic, it really upset me. Like, it really affected me. I was like, no, like, but I eventually had to get over it, honestly. I had to get over it because they're not going to stop. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how many caveats you put on it. They're going to call you anti-Semitic because that is how they protect their genocidal ethno-state. And so I think that because of that frame, and I was also raised in another frame. And again, I just want to say too, to anybody that sees this, when I say raised this way, I don't mean things that were explicitly said to me. I mean those things you're raised with in the background. Like, I was raised there in a very Islamophobic way. No one said that to me. Like, my dad and my mom never came out outright and were like, Muslims are bad. It was everywhere in the background. So you just absorb that. And I think that I was raised being told that racism was bad and that sexism was bad. But I wasn't really ever told it was bad to think of Arabs as terrorists. No one ever said that. And that was kind of the background. So it's like all of those things, the indoctrination into the Holocaust is the worst thing that ever happened ever. But I wasn't ever taught about Black Wall Street. I wasn't ever taught about King Leopold in Congo. Never got taught any of that. I didn't even know what Juneteenth was until 2020. Like, literally never learned about any of these things, but I learned about the Holocaust. And I learned about it a lot. I remember being a teenager having to read multiple books. You read Anne Frank's book. You read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. You read Night by Elie Wiesel. Like, that was taught, right? And I was also taught that, like, so the Holocaust was the worst thing that ever happened in human history. Slavery was also really, really bad. And so was the Native American genocide. But those things were in the past. Move on. Like, that was kind of the vibe. Like, those things were really bad, but that happened a long time ago. Can you get over yourself? Like, that was like the vibe. And again, never taught about all the other things that happened to Black Americans throughout the decades and in like during Reconstruction and in the 1920s and in the Jim Crow era. It all was always presented to me as like, well, yeah, Black Americans and Native Americans were really oppressed, but like, when are you guys going to move on? Like, it's always like the way. And again, no one actually came out and said that, but that was the vibe, that was like the background noise. So like, I grew up with all of those frames that you don't realize you have. And then when October 7th happened, my thought was, oh, all of these innocent Jews in the state that they're in to get protected from another Holocaust just got attacked by these really mean Arabs. That is so sad. Like, because they're Jews. Like, literally, that was the propaganda. So that was my reaction. And then what changed was, it wasn't a single thing. It was more like, I actually really wanted to know why. Like, after it happened, I was like, why did they attack them? Even though I had all those preconceived notions about Jews being, honestly, and I don't mean to sound racist or anything when I say this, but like, I looked at Jews as being like perma victims that like you can't really criticize, and like I feel like they're victims. So like, Whitey needs to be careful about what I say about this permanent victim class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, and again, it's just something I didn't even realize that I thought. It was like subconscious that I thought this. And so like, it was like I started noticing, and I was like, why did this happen? Why did they do this? Why did those people come across the border and do this? I kind of want to look into it more. So I started looking up Palestinian authors. And I just Googled like Palestinian authors. And then I started looking on TikTok, which, you know what I'm gonna take. I started looking up TikTok, looking for Palestinian creators, just like not even news outlets. Just I looked up random Palestinian creators. I asked some people in my community on TikTok, who are some Palestinian creators that you follow? I want to hear their perspectives. And then I also asked for anti-Zionist Jews. I was asking for people like I wanted to hear the anti-Zionist Jewish perspective. That's when I learned about Norm Finkelstein. And then somebody recommended the book, The Holocaust Industry, that Norm Finkelstein wrote. And then people told me to read The 100-Year War on Palestine. And then told me, and basically it just shattered everything I thought I believed. I try to explain it to people like when you get saved. Like in the Christian church, when you get saved, it's like a huge, like, oh my gosh. And you want to, once you learn about the good news of the gospel, you know, you're supposed to tell everybody the good news. That's how I felt when I learned about Palestine. When I started learning the truth about it, I was like, OMG. And again, when I say I wanted to tell everybody, I mean everybody white like me. I knew once I started reading about it that, like, obviously Arabs already knew about it. Black people, by and large, also already knew about it and already had a long-standing solidarity with the Palestinians. So I wanted to tell other people like me, people that I know that are uneducated, that didn't go to college, that, you know, didn't have any idea what was happening. And I couldn't wait to start telling people about that and be like, oh my gosh, you guys don't understand. Everything I thought was true about Israel was a lie. And again, I really just believed the kind of like default propaganda that like Israel was a safe haven for Jews. It was created out of nowhere. It didn't disturb anybody because of the Holocaust. And if you're going after Israel, it is because you kind of want Jews to die. Like that was like what I believed.
Well, let me ask you this. So you didn't fall for the it's all so complicated, it's too complex type of narrative? You didn't fall for that?
A little at first I did. Because what they do very successfully, and it affects people like me, who I never went to school when I was growing up. I never, like, except for small, very short pockets when I was a kid, and then I would get pulled out again. I never went to college. So being that kind of uneducated white trash person, when somebody looked at me and would say, you have no idea what you're talking about, this is complicated, it made me go, oh, I must not know what I'm talking about. I must not, they must be, you know, who am I? I didn't go to a fancy school. I don't even have an associate's degree. Well, I didn't even graduate from high school. What makes me think that I know, you know, the thing that the scholars don't? So at first it did kind of affect me. But then a couple weeks after, I started watching on the news and on social media, some of the people I started following, some of the clips, and this is what they don't realize. The Israeli regime doesn't realize how much damage they did to themselves, because a lot of what I first started watching that really horrified me was from them. It was like I was looking at their TikToks and watching them celebrate the water getting cut off. I was watching the deranged IOF officers dancing and laughing, and the lawmakers being like, they're animals. This is Amalek. And I know what that means because I was raised Christian. And so when I saw the way they were talking about them, I was like,
yeah,
I don't have to be an expert in Middle East politics to know that's fucking deranged. Like, that's fucking deranged. So, like, they really did damage to their own cause by being so openly genocidal to begin with. And then, so that was part of it. And then the other thing that kind of ripped down that, oh, it's complicated, was like starting to see them fucking kill them. Like, starting to see them bomb them. I was like, okay, that's not complicated. You're attacking children. There's nothing complicated. I don't give a fuck about 3,000 years. It was promised to me. Whatever the hell you tell me, I don't understand. It's a religious conflict. You know what I understand? You're bombing children. I don't need to have a PhD to understand that that's fucking psychotic.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for that, because a lot of us have to come to terms with, I think part of it comes with humility, is that sometimes it's okay to say, I just don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not aware. I started to become privy to the whole issue regarding Israel and Palestine more in an honest and objective way when I moved further to the left back in 2021.
Mm.
And as I started to learn more, I was just like, so it's not complicated.
Right.
And then given the background that I have as a Black American and that what I've seen happen to Native Americans in this country, it's a one-to-one. It's, you guys are repeating the exact same thing that you guys did to the Native Americans back then. This isn't any different.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they're calling Palestinians the children of the darkness, then guess what? How is that different than white colonizers calling the Native Americans savages? It's not much difference. There's not much involved there.
And they have the same lies that they kind of, once you learn, you get used to their lies, you start to realize it. Like when I remember like a little early on getting attacked by a bunch of Zionists online because I compared it to the Native American genocide here. And they were like, how dare you? Israelis were always there. It's not the same and blah, blah, blah. Also, it's not the same because like we went through the Holocaust and you guys were just white colonizers that came here. It's so different. I was like, okay, but is it really that different though? Like, is it really that different when you actually look back at it? Like, but again, that's how they use their identity as a shield. Because then they would say to me, well, what do you know? You're a white American. You're not indigenous to the Middle East like we are, because God promised it to us 3,000 whatever. And like at first, again, like there were a lot of things at first that they did that did work on me to like be like to make me question myself. Oh, like what do I know? Like, well, how could I say that? Because I am white. So who am I to tell a Jewish person that they're not indigenous to Palestine? But then there's also like facts. Okay, then there's like facts. Like, and I'm so sorry. Like, it comes to a point where you don't get to hide behind your identity to murder people. And you don't get to hide behind your historical oppression to genocide people. You don't get to do that. And it just got to a point where I got fresh out of patience for that. Where I was like, okay, like, you don't get to just like genocide people and steal their shit and then turn around and go, yeah, but I'm a minority.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of people have to contend with this, especially when it comes to people like Barack Obama, Kamala Harris. I was going to say Clarence Thomas, but I'm not talking about him. People like James Clyburn, Cory Booker, Jasmine Crockett. It's like, oh man, I can't critique them because they're Black, and then they'll use the race card on me. And I've seen this many, many times where they'll use it. And the thing is, like, while racism and anti-Blackness is a real thing, and it is something that we have to contend with this in this country, there are also, at the same time, some Black people who will use their identity to continue the empire. Mm. And we have a particular word for those in the Black community. And it basically is the formal word for trash panda. So with that being said, we have our words for them.
The C word.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, like, the reason why we have a disdain for that, and it's on both the Democrat side and the Republican side. They exist in both parties. And the problem is that it's wanting to continue the empire. It's the same thing and you have that in every race. With Jewish people, you have Jewish people who are anti-Zionist that really practice real loving Judaism that actually wants to unite people. And those people who are Jewish, they are really the exemplifiers of what real Judaism is. And then you have the supremacists. Right. And the supremacists, well, they're using their religion. They're adulterating their religion, just like many Christians do, because I was raised evangelical. Don't come for me. So they will use their religion in order to use it to beat people over the head with it so that they can maintain power over others. right?
100%. And the danger that we run into when it comes to what's happening in Gaza, for me anyway, is that Jewish supremacy is not something that is widely acknowledged. Like for me, it took me a long time to be able to use that word without feeling like I was doing something wrong.
Yeah.
White supremacy is something that I can easily talk about with no pushback. But when you say Jewish supremacy, there is a lot of people that want to acknowledge that it doesn't exist. And because Judaism has been wrapped up in Jewish identity and what is happening in Gaza or the historical oppression of Jewish people, there are many that will not acknowledge that Jewish supremacy even exists, and that you even bringing that up makes you an anti-Semite. So that makes it, that's like another layer of how they control criticism.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, two things can be true at the same time. Anti-Semitism is real, but also Jewish supremacy exists.
Right. 100%.
And this is the nuance, right? The nuance that some people just, they don't want to think about it because they want to think in a black and white as like good guy, bad guy. But in reality, it's like, you know, it's more bimodal. And so there's spectrums, you know, you have people who, like, for instance, most Zionists aren't even Jewish. They're Christian.
Right. They're Christian, yes. And if you grew up like we did, Christian evangelical, you know that there is a huge evangelical Christian Zionist community. And like you said, like it is, there's a lot of gray. But the thing is that people choose, they don't decide what is in the gray area when they treat things as black and white. They treat it like a team. Rather than looking at it like these are the facts, they treat it like a team. And what I mean by that is, yes, I've gotten so much hate anytime I criticize Kamala Harris, anytime I criticize Cory Booker. You know, it all of the same kind of attacks and hate, and you're anti-black, and it's misogynoir, and you can't criticize them, and how dare you, cracker, and all that. And that's fine. But what I do find interesting about those criticisms that I get is that if I criticize Candace Owens or Clarence Thomas, I get no such pushback. They fully understand that Clarence Thomas and Candace Owens can be problematic in helping the empire. But God forbid you say that about Cory Booker, who's like such a hack, and all of a sudden you're a Klansman. It's amazing.
So I'm going to give you the answer for that. That has less to do with them being black and more of them being Democrats.
No.
And a lot of these people, they equate Democrat with black.
Oh, no.
It's not
Let me make sure I correct that so you don't think or your audience doesn't think I'm saying it's just black people. It's not just black people that have that reaction. It's all people.
No. I understand. There are white liberals that do the same thing. You, like, if you criticize someone that's black who is on the Democrat side, you'll have white liberals that will go, "Oh my God, you're being anti-black or you're being racist." And it's like, I had made no comment about their race whatsoever. And in fact, they aren't even doing enough for black people by what black people say.
Right. Okay.
And so,
and the double standard. Okay. So this reminds me, like, the people that are attacking right now, this creator named Consciously, who's a really great creator. He's on YouTube. He's on TikTok. He has been coming under relentless attack by Blue MAGA for them claiming. His name is Consciously. He goes by Consciously. His name is
Consciously. Yeah.
Yes. He's been coming under constant attack by Blue MAGA. They're attacking him. They're lying about him. They're claiming that he encouraged people not to vote for Kamala. Like, all of this insanity. And one of the newest lines that they're coming after him with is to say, "You're not even married to a black woman. You're not even married to a black woman," because his wife, I think, might be part Latino or something. And what I find amazing is those same people will talk about how Kamala is the greatest thing that ever happened, ignoring the fact that she's married to a white Zionist. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Like, I don't understand.
Those are trolls and clowns, because your marriage to a particular person of a particular race does not negate your fight for black liberation. Of
course.
The problem is that they're trying to find whatever they can and throw whatever spaghetti at the wall to see if it sticks. It's the exact same thing, and we'll be getting into this as the Palestinian journalist that was murdered. And people are like, "Oh my God, but it was Palestinians that killed him." And I'm like, didn't we just talk about people of the same identity as you that will be turncoats and they will actually work for the oppressor in order to advance their agenda. It happens in the Black community. It happens, look, hell, it happens in the white community, because there are white people who are fighting for their rights as well to exist. And then you got some white people that will hold down other white people. Look at what happened in the Battle of Blair Mountain, right?
Mhm.
Where a whole bunch of white people, a lot of coal miners, were trying to fight for them to actually have real tangible benefits as far as the unions and the pay and worker power. And then you have some people turn on them. And so ultimately it is about having turncoats within your own community. It happens in the Latino community. It happens in the LGBTQ community. Hello. All right. Some of them anti-trans, anti-queer bigots that want to talk about, oh my goodness, LGB without the T. Sit your queer ass down and let us do the work that we've been doing for years, because you obviously don't give a damn about the people who you actually have closer identity with. You want, instead of being one of us, you want to be a Peter Thiel or what's his name, Cook of Apple. You guys want to be one of them.
Tim Apple. Yeah, Tim Cook.
You know what I'm saying? They want to be like them, and you're never going to be one of them. Ever.
Right.
And then they get mad at us for standing with Palestinians, like, oh, the Palestinians will throw you guys off the roof. You know what? So with the people of Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah. I know. I love that the same people that will be actively advocating right now for undoing marriage equality and trashing queer people all the time and calling us groomers will then turn around and go, there's not even LGBTQ rights in Palestine. It's like, you don't want them here, bitch. Like, if it were up to you, we'd be illegalized. Okay? Michael Knowles getting on stage saying that trans people need to be eradicated. And then they'll turn around and go, well, they throw you off a roof in Gaza. It's
every accusation is a confession.
Yes, always.
Yeah.
Always.
Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate it from the top and bottom of my heart. If you'd like to see any more, you can look here. 1.